Our headlines today. A wave of Russian missile strikes hits major cities across Ukraine, damaging power stations and residential areas.
Warnings of heavy snow, travel delays and power cuts as the cold snap takes a turn for the worse in large parts of the UK.
The Met Office has an amber weather warning in force later today and into tomorrow. Parts of northern England, especially the Transpennine routes, could have as much as 40 centimetres of snow, that's 16 inches, and blizzards at times.
Good morning. Calls for an urgent reform of childcare. Rising fees and fewer places are forcing parents to give up work. I've been meeting some of those affected.
Good morning. Tottenham crash out of Europe with a whimper. And attention now switches to their manager's future after their last chance of a trophy this season is snuffed out by AC Milan on a frustrating night in North London.
And the stars behind the camera, we meet the British cinematographers up for Oscars this Sunday's awards.
BBC presenter Gary Lineker says he'll continue to speak up for, quote, people with no voice after criticism of his tweets on the government's asylum policy. The Match of the Day host said the language used to set out the plan was, in his words, not dissimilar to that used by Germany in the 1930s. The BBC said it's now having a frank conversation with Mr Lineker about the BBC's need to remain impartial.
Princess of Wales has visited Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire to meet members of the 1st Battalion Irish Guards. Catherine, who's Colonel of the Irish Guards, was meeting the troops for the first time since receiving the honorary appointment, that was last year. During freezing temperatures and heavy snow, Her Royal Highness watched several training sessions, took part in simulating exercise, delivering care to injured soldiers. Let's have a look at the front pages of your newspapers today, and the Mirror leading with Gary Lineker's comments saying he will never be silenced or stop speaking up for the rights of refugees following a tweet in which he criticised the government's new asylum policy. BBC says it will speak to the presenter about impartiality.
Meanwhile, The Times this morning is reporting that up to 12 million people could be offered a new weight loss drug as part of an initiative to tackle obesity rates. We talked about that on Breakfast yesterday.
Princess of Wales, pictured on the front page of most of the papers this morning. Telegraph, you can see here, showing her taking part in military training exercises on Salisbury Plain. This is with the Irish Guards in the snow.
And the forecast Carol's been bringing you of heavy snow across much of the UK. That's one of the most read stories on the BBC News website. You can also keep up to date with the latest on the situation where you are. BBC Online.
Front pages of some of the morning's newspapers now, and we'll start with the front page of The Guardian, which reports that EU officials have warned the government's illegal migration bill will be in breach of human rights law. That's also the lead for The Eye, adding the proposed new laws could jeopardise the Windsor Agreement on post-Brexit trade rules for Northern Ireland. The Daily Express says that the Prime Minister has won over the French President with his plans and that there'll be greater cross-channel cooperation. Rishi Sunak will meet Emmanuel Macron in France for talks tomorrow. The Mail speculates on the future of the BBC presenter Gary Lineker after he was critical of the bill. While the Mirror quotes Lineker saying he will never be silenced. The Financial Times reports on government plans to increase the numbers of workers coming here from overseas to help with labour shortages. The Telegraph has leaks more of Matt Hancock's messages, this time suggesting he was told to tone down a section of his book about COVID leaking from a lab in China. The Metro reports on Harry and Meghan christening their daughter Lilibet with her official title. And The Times looks at how a new weight loss drug could trim the amount of paid out by the government in benefits. Now, if you want to see those front pages again and read the stories attached, scan the QR code that you see on your screen. It's going to take you to our website where you'll find the press review.